Right, the Euros are about to get underway, in case you didn't know, though that is unlikely if you are subscribed to this channel since it has been wall-to-wall Euro 2020 coverage for a while now. So far I've made a documentary exploring Denmark's extraordinary Euro 92 success, an opinion piece on what to expect from England at Euro 2020, and a video pondering where every Euro 2020 squad would finish in the Premier League. There will be plenty more coverage once the tournament begins, so if you're not yet subscribed, there's no time like the present. I've seen lots of requests over the last few days for me to take a stab at naming Euro 2020 squad and starting 11 with just one player from each national team squad, so that is exactly what I'm going to do. It's going to be a classic 23-man squad rather than the expanded 26-man format for Euro 2020, since there are 24 national teams at Euro 2020, which is the perfect number for a 23-man squad and manager. I'll start with the starting 11 and then run through the rest of the squad. This took me ages, and if you take a stab at naming your own in the comments or on social media, I'm sure you'll face similar selection headaches. I was chopping and changing it up until the final second, but I am pretty happy with the team I've ended up with. Here is my one player per Euro 2020 Nations squad, starting 11 and manager. Goalkeeper, Kasper Schmeichel. Getting us underway and leaving no room for an appearance later on from either Thomas Delaney or Christian Eriksen, I'm a big fan of Kasper Schmeichel. Always a fantastic shot stopper with excellent reflexes, there was a time, those of you who saw Schmeichel during his time at Leeds or in his early years at Leicester may recall, in which he did have a mistake in him. Sometimes he would try to claim the ball when he should have stayed at home, sometimes he'd flap it across and palm it out to an opponent, and you could see that he didn't always fill his defenders with 100% confidence. Those days are long gone, and have been for some time. Schmeichel is now one of the most dependable goalkeepers in the Premier League, and I think he is among the finest in the world. His father probably put in the greatest European Championship performance by a goalkeeper of all time in 1992, and it's Kasper who gets us started between the sticks. Right back, Giovanni Di Lorenzo. I probably deliberated over this position for longer and switched it up more times than any other. There are lots of very good right backs at Euro 2020, though I don't think there is necessarily any one absolute obvious standout. My decision, therefore, was based partially on keeping a country free for another position, whilst not sacrificing on quality at right back. In the end, I utilised my Italian allowance by selecting Giovanni Di Lorenzo, who comes into these Euros fresh off the back of a fine season at Napoli. Ironically, I think there is quite a high likelihood that Di Lorenzo won't even start for Italy this summer, since Roberto Mancini seems to be a big fan of Alessandro Florenzi. Personally, I think that would be a poor decision, and it hasn't deterred me from picking the attack-minded Napoli star as my right back. Centre-back, Matthijs de Ligt. Were he fully fit, Virgil van Dijk would surely captain the Netherlands at this summer's Euros, and he would be a shoo-in for this 11. Sadly, for both I and the Netherlands, but particularly for the Netherlands, this isn't that big of a deal, he is not. But I have still selected a Dutch centre-back at the heart of my backline. To be honest, I wouldn't be too fussed between Matthijs de Ligt and Stefan de Vrij, both of whom are more than capable centre-backs, but I do think that de Ligt is more talented and, on the balance of things, I'd edge towards him. At the age of 21, de Ligt is the youngest player in my starting 11, but not the youngest in my entire squad. Centre-back, David Alaba. There's plenty of talent in the Austria squad, not least Marcel Sabitzer, but David Alaba remains the team's talisman. It is bizarre, but a fine indication of David Alaba's versatility, that he has spent almost all of this season playing at centre-back for Bayern Munich, and then he goes and starts on the left flank for Austria against England. I think it's quite likely, if not certain, that he will play further forward for Austria this summer at the Euros, but I do think his best position is now on the left side of centre-back, and that's where he starts in my 11. Left back, Andy Robertson. Scotland's two best players are both left backs, which is why Steve Clarke will play with the back 3/back 5 at this summer's Euros, with Kieran Tierney playing on the left side of centre-back and Andy Robertson playing as a wing-back in possession and as a left-back out of possession. Either one of them could have made this squad, and either one of them could have started. I actually think Tierney may have an even higher ceiling than Robertson, but at this moment in time, I think the Liverpool man is the right choice. Robertson belongs to an elite group of players in terms of his eagerness to learn and improve, and that has facilitated his relentless improvements season upon season over the years. He will captain Scotland at Euro 2020, and he represents the Tartan Army proudly within this 11. Holding midfield, Joshua Kimmich. The Germany squad is packed full of world-class players, not least in midfield, where they can boast the likes of Joshua Kimmich, Toni Kroos, Leon Goretzka, and Ilkay Gundogan. I mean, seriously, listing off those names, that is remarkable talent solely in the heart of their midfield. Long-time subscribers to this channel will know that I've always adored Joshua Kimmich. As a footballer, I don't know him personally, and even from a crowded field, I think he is the right choice as Germany's representative. My apologies to Thomas Müller and Manuel Neuer as well. At the age of 26, Joshua Kimmich has already become the best player in the world in two different positions. Firstly at right back, and now in holding midfield. I don't believe there is a more complete player in that position in world football right now, and I think Kimmich was only the second name on my team sheet. Central midfield, Kevin De Bruyne. Talking of players who are in a class of their own in their position right now, I think Kevin De Bruyne has probably been the best midfielder in world football for the last 3 years now. Synonymous with his incredible vision, weighted pass, and sumptuous balls into the box, which are just begging to be put in the back of the net, De Bruyne is also athletic, strong on the ball, and capable of scoring from range. If I could steal one player from any other nation for England at the Euros, it would probably be him. Belgium are obviously a team with enormous quality, whether that be in the form of Yuri Tielemans, Eden Hazard, or Romelu Lukaku. But in spite of that competition, I never had too many doubts about this one. Central midfield, Luka Modric. He may be 35 years old, soon to turn 36, but Luka Modric has shown few signs of decline this season. Outstanding yet again for Real Madrid, whilst Ivan Rakitic retired from international football in 2019, Modric goes boldly on, still captaining the national team that he inspired to a World Cup final 3 years ago. Modric will likely be England's nemesis in the group stages once again this summer, and though Croatia have a number of excellent midfielders, if Gareth Southgate's men are to disrupt the rhythm of Croatia's play, it is Modric that they will have to neutralise. I'm a bit disappointed that this means I won't be able to pick one of the best defenders in the world, but that is just the type of compromise that you have to make with these types of videos. Right wing, Kylian Mbappe. France have the strongest squad at the Euros, the strongest squad in the world, the most depth outside of their squad at the Euros and in the world, and the best starting 11 both at the Euros and, yes, you guessed it, in the world. It's not really fair when you think about it, but it means you have to choose very carefully when it comes to which of France's star-studded squad you select. N'Golo Kante is a force of nature in midfield, and his form in the Champions League semi-final and final make him difficult to ignore. Karim Benzema has returned to France's squad as though he has never been away and remains one of the finest centre-forwards in the entire world. And subscribers will know that though he has only just won his first cap for France, my love for Jules Koundé is never-ending. And I could go on. In the end, I've gone for probably the most obvious choice though, and that is starting Kylian Mbappe on the right flank. Erling Haaland may now be giving him a stern challenge, but I have said before that I think Mbappe was the best teenager and is the best young footballer, at least since the era of Rooney, Fabregas and Lionel Messi. To have scored 163 goals in 243 games at club level and 17 goals from 43 caps at international level at the age of 22 is nothing short of remarkable, and his blistering pace, total self-belief and permanent goal threat would be a welcome addition to this side. Left wing, Cristiano Ronaldo. If you thought Luka Modric was going to be the only elder statesman in this side, then you were very much mistaken. Ronaldo is around 6 months older than his former Real Madrid comrade, now aged 36, but he is still absolutely ruthless. It would be absurd to suggest that Ronaldo is the same player at 36 that he was at 26. His game has changed drastically during that time, and he now spends far less time on the ball and far more time in the 6-yard box, with only one thing on his mind. A tally of 41 goals this season, for both club and country, is testament to Ronaldo's phenomenal dedication to the sport, as is the fact that he made the Euros team of the tournament a whopping 17 years ago at Euro 2004. If Ronaldo can score 7 goals at the Euros, which would put him in contention for the Golden Boot, or actually, if he can score 7 goals including Portugal's 2 warm-up games, which haven't yet been played at the time of this recording, he will officially become the highest scoring male international footballer of all time at this tournament. Centre forward, Harry Kane. There were lots of tricky selection decisions in both my squad and in my 11, but none more so than deciding who to start at centre forward. The more observant among you will be aware that I haven't yet selected a Polish or English international, meaning that I could, theoretically, start either Harry Kane or Robert Lewandowski as my centre forward. As you can see, that is quite the dilemma. For the last 2 seasons, Robert Lewandowski has been the most prolific goalscorer in all of world football, averaging well over a goal a game. I know Messi and Ronaldo managed that for a good few seasons, but it's worth noting that that isn't normal, and Lewandowski is about to turn 33. Remarkable. Harry Kane cannot rival that level of ruthlessness in front of goal, though he is also one of the most prolific goal scorers within the European game. In a straight shootout between the two, in isolation, I think you'd have to pick Lewandowski. He simply scores too many goals. So, if I'm just picking the best player, he starts. However, if this were a real team, and also if I had the choice between Lewandowski and Kane for England, I would pick Harry Kane. The England captain is more complete than Lewandowski in terms of both his physical attributes, his creativity, and bringing others into the game. He's also a world-class tournament player. He goes cold in front of goal, the occasion doesn't get to him, and even if he makes a mistake, his head never drops. Let's face it is a great problem to have, and you'd be delighted to have either one of them as your starting centre forward. But for the balance of the team, I just edge towards Kane. I've no doubt many of you will disagree, and I can wholeheartedly understand that point of view. That is the 11 done and dusted, but that is only 11 out of the 24 nations at Euro 2020 as yet represented. So now it's time for the full 23-man squad. Our 2 goalkeepers, serving as Kasper Schmeichel's very capable deputies, are Finland number 1, Lukas Hradecky, who I would put down as my number 2, and Hungary goalkeeper, RB Leipzig star, and former Hull City loanee, Peter Galaci. In defence, the Czech Republic's Vladimir Koufal could actually challenge Giovanni Di Lorenzo for a starting berth off the back of an outstanding season with West Ham. Turkey's Çağlar Söyüncü and Slovakia's Milan Skriniar join Matthijs de Ligt and David Alaba as our 4 centre-backs, and the very capable Alexander Zinchenko of Ukraine joins Andy Robertson in terms of our travelling left-backs. It must be said that Milan Skriniar could rival either David Alaba or Matthijs de Ligt for a starting berth, just as Koufal could with Di Lorenzo. So all 3 would have to be on their toes. Meanwhile, Zinchenko would be a great squad player given his versatility. Of course, he primarily plays as a left-back in the Premier League for Manchester City, but you could expect to see him start in a fairly advanced midfield role under Andrei Shevchenko at the Euros. Joining Joshua Kimmich, Kevin De Bruyne and Luka Modric in midfield are Switzerland's Remo Freuler, who has been excellent for Atalanta this season, as backup to Kimmich in more of a holding role, and Russia's Alexander Golovin and Spain's Marcus Llorente covering in those more central and forward roles. It must be said that Spain have a heap of quality in midfield, as they seem to have done so for about 20 years now, whether that be Sergio Busquets, Thiago Alcantara, Koke, or even Barcelona's exceptional 18-year-old prospect, Pedri. I was really tempted to pick him actually, but off the back of a brilliant season in which he won the title with Atletico Madrid, I felt obliged to go for Llorente. And then we come to the forwards, one of whom is very predictable. Robert Lewandowski could easily have started, and once he didn't, he stands out as the star non-starter within our squad. Meanwhile, young Dejan Kulusevski pips Matthijs de Ligt and Kylian Mbappe to the crown of being the youngest player in this squad, along with the much more experienced Gareth Bale, who showed in patches this season that he can still be a match winner, and Wales will be hoping that he once again turns on the style on the international stage this summer. They obviously join our 3 starting forwards of Mbappe, Kane and Ronaldo. Last but not least, in charge of what I hope you would agree, even if you don't necessarily agree with every single selection, is a wonderful squad. Can you figure out which country hasn't yet featured, and therefore which manager is about to get the prestigious HITC Sevens nod? Well, North Macedonian viewers will know who it is, as will some of you who watched my video attempting to rank every manager at Euro 2020 from worst to best just a few days ago, in which he came 5th. That man is Igor Angelovski, who has worked absolute wonders since being appointed North Macedonia boss in 2015. And if he can guide that squad to the Euros and victory against Germany, he should be able to win every trophy going whilst blindfolded with this set of players. So that is it for today's video. I hope it has whet your appetite ahead of Euro 2020 kicking off, and if you found even a mere modicum of enjoyment or entertainment at any stage in the entire video, I would implore you with all my heart to hit the like button and to subscribe to HITC Sevens, where all the cool kids hang out. And to leave a comment, of course, should you have any views on the video, or anything else for that matter. Well, preferably not religion, that always seems to end badly, but really anything else. You can also find me on social media, on both Twitter and Instagram, via the username @HITC Sevens, should you wish to do so.